So yeah, it was a really, really tough time to be a fan. This immediately does impact SummerSlam 2007 because the big deal going into SummerSlam 2007 and the big storyline was going to be that Umaga was going to be taking on the entire cast of Jackass, which at the time was like a huge deal. Like this was gigantic. The cast of Jackass. I mean, not only is Johnny Knoxville a big deal, but Steve-O's a big deal. Bam Margera's a big deal. Ryan Dunn is a pretty big deal. Wee Man's a big deal. So it's like they're supposed to be having this big match. But when this does occur, and the plan was actually that they were going to show up at the Great American Bash 2007 and cost Umaga the Intercontinental title in his match with Jeff Hardy. Instead, that does not happen. Johnny Knoxville gets cold feet, and so they pull out of the match. And they stop all of the promotion for it. They get rid of the entire promotion for it. And they end up stopping. They just have to reshuffle the entire deck because they didn't want to do it. I think they just decided without Knoxville, there's no reason to have the rest of the cast there. So even though they had done a lot of promotion in the magazines, they had an official poster with like Umaga standing over all the cast of Jackass, all their heads kind of buried into the sand. And even though they even filmed a commercial with Umaga and Steve-O, they scrapped the entire deal and they had to go for some other promotion because Johnny Knoxville at the time actually thought he had a burgeoning film career and didn't want to be associated with WWE.
I mean, he did have a burgeoning movie career, just didn't really go anywhere after like Men in Black and...
Oh, Men in Black! I forgot about that.
Yeah, Men in Black 2, and then he had the I forget what it was called, but it was the one where he fakes being special needs in order to get into the Special Olympics.
Oh God, I didn't see it because it sounded like the worst freaking. I do think there was parts of it that were actually kind of endearing, and I do think he did a lot of like promotion for that to actually shine a light on the great work that the folks at the Special Olympics were doing. But it was still like, I don't know.
Yeah, that wasn't the bad part.
Right.
Of that movie. I remember watching it, and I remember that not being the bad part. It was just not a good movie overall, but it was like that did not make it bad.
Right.
There was a lot of other things that made that movie bad, but that was not part of it. I'm blanking on the name.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Movie, but
First Boy, My Lucky Boy, something like that. No. Wasn't he also in
The Ringer? That's what it was.
The Ringer, yes. Yeah. So John Knoxville pulls out. I think in retrospect, I think WWE was underestimating how much the other members of Jackass really meant to people. There was a popular show, and I think without Knoxville, they should have kept it going. Especially because I don't think this was going to be your main event. I mean, Umaga wasn't. He was a big deal in WWE, but he wasn't a main guy. And I think at that point, if there were other people still on board, they should have done it just because I think they were trying to do whatever it took to repair their image at this point.
Yeah. Didn't they come on later and do something? I feel like years later.
Johnny Knoxville just did a whole bunch of stuff at WWE this year.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. So, 15 years later. But yeah, he was in the Rumble, and then he had one of the most entertaining matches with Sami Zayn at Wrestlemania. So they did eventually become a big deal, and it was so much fun. I couldn't stop telling Ari, my wife, that if they had done this match at SummerSlam 2007 with Umaga, it would have been a great time.
Oh yeah, again, looking back on it, I was like, but why, why push Umaga like this? He's not that good. But looking back on his match, I'd changed my opinion on him.
Oh yeah, no, he was great, and I mean, especially I think also part of it was amongst our group of friends at this time. We'll get a little more into it as we talk about the show. I know, we used to do the Samoan Bulldozer all the time. That I think we made Umaga kind of a joke, even though he was a pretty badass Samoan dude.
I think again, the Samoan Spike is a horrible finisher.
It is weird.
He had so many other good moves and so many other things that he could have done as a finisher that
Right.